Hello students, in our earlier videos we have covered the economic importance of bacteria and fungi. In the series, today we will be looking at the answers to the various questions in the section 9.8 to 9.11, which is covering the economic importance of fungi. Okay, so please refer to the questions in the textbook in page number 95. So let's start. Production of ethanol occurs in one of the following processes of bread mold, yeast, mushroom, penicillium. So the answer is yeast. Yeast converts glucose into ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy, okay, by the process of fermentation. Okay. Which one of the following characteristics is found in all fungi but not in all bacteria? Aerobic respiration, is it present in all fungi but not all bacteria? Cell wall, spore formation, a long circular DNA lying loose in the cytoplasm. So, which of these characteristics are found in all fungi but not in all bacteria? Okay. So, all fungi are spore forming. Okay, all fungi are spore forming. This is one possibility, but there are fungi which are non-spore forming fungi. Okay, cell wall. All fungi have cell wall. Okay, the cell wall is made up of chitin. Okay, but in the case of bacteria, okay, in the case of bacteria, there are few species which do not have cell wall, okay, like mycoplasma. Okay, example is mycoplasma. So therefore the answer here is cell wall. Okay, not all bacteria have cell wall, all fungi have cell wall, and the cell wall is made up of chitin. Okay, aerobic respiration is present in both bacteria and fungi. Anaerobic respiration also present in both fungi and bacteria. A long circular DNA loose in the cytoplasm. This is present only in bacteria. Okay, it is a prokaryote. But in the case of fungi, it is a eukaryote. It doesn't have this kind of circular DNA. Okay, it is present inside the nucleus. The DNA is present inside the nucleus. Next question. Bacteria are referred to as prokaryotes because, so this should be an easy, they do not have a true nucleus. Okay, prokaryote. Prokaryote. Pro means primitive. Okay, primitive. Karyote means nucleus. Okay, so primitive nucleus. Okay, it does not have membrane, no membrane covering on the nucleus. Therefore the nucleus of the prokaryotes are known as nucleoid. Okay, it is known as nucleoid. Moving to the next question. Yeast is used in the production of ethyl alcohol, acetic acid, cheese, curd. So yeast is used in the production of ethanol. Okay, wine production, whatever we saw the industrial application of yeast. Okay, by fermentation. So the alcohol is nothing but ethanol or ethyl alcohol. Okay, Acetic acid is by bacteria. Cheese production involves bacteria and fungi. Okay, so bacteria is for curdling of the milk, so we use the lactobacillus. And in some fungi, in some kind of cheese, okay, like Roquefort cheese, we use the Penicillium roqueforti. Curd is also bacteria, lactobacillus bacteria. Next question. Tick mark the correct statement or statements. All mushrooms are poisonous. No, all mushrooms are not poisonous. Few mushrooms are edible. All toadstools are poisonous. No, all toadstools are not poisonous. Few of them are edible. Some toadstools are poisonous. Yes, some of them are poisonous. Some mushrooms are edible. Yes, some of the mushrooms are edible. Okay. Where can the mold Rhizopus be most easily found? Okay. Rhizopus is commonly known as bread mold. Okay. It can be found on the when the bread is left outside and there is some moisture on it, then the Rhizopus mold grows on it. Okay. Why is it generally advised that every living room in the house should get direct sunlight at least for a short time? That is because the sunlight, okay, it has UV radiation. Okay. So UV radiation, so many places we hear that it is not good and all those things. So because within UV radiation there are different frequencies, so we call it A, B, C, different types of UV radiation. Okay, so we will not go into the detail, but the UV radiation is able to kill the microorganisms. Okay, microorganisms, whatever the microbes are there, it is able to kill them. So in this way what happens is, whatever once the room is very closed and dark, then it helps in the increase in the mold. So inside the room a lot of mold and bacteria and fungi, they start growing. Okay, so when the sunlight enters, this UV radiation that is present in the sunlight, it will be able to kill these kind of microorganisms. Okay, next, describe the role of certain fungi in industrial production. So yeast, it is used in wine making, bread making, cheese making. Okay, these are some of the applications. Mention two useful and two harmful effects of wine. Okay, so wine in the moderate quantities, it may act as a stimulant. Okay, and mostly in cold countries, that is very much freezing temperature, so in order to warm their body, so that's they will be using a little bit of in moderate quantities. Okay, the harmful effects, it includes the damage to the liver. Okay, so that is liver cirrhosis. Okay, so we have seen earlier, it can lead to liver cirrhosis, it may also lead to addiction, both of which are very harmful. Differentiate between a saprophyte and a parasite. ठीक है, so saprophyte is, they will be growing on dead and decaying material. Okay, dead and decaying material for their food. Okay, parasite, they live inside the living host. Okay, living host, for example malarial parasite. Okay, so there is a plasmodium, okay, that is living inside the a person who is healthy and who is alive. So the this parasite it cannot survive on any dead person body or anything like that. Okay, so therefore parasite means the host should be living. In saprophyte, it means that microbe, that microorganism, it is able to derive its food from where? From dead and decaying material. Okay, next, aerobic and anaerobic respiration with regard to products. Okay, so we'll write here in the top aerobic, okay, and anaerobic. Okay, aerobic respiration means in the presence of oxygen, anaerobic means in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so in aerobic what happens is glucose, okay, will be broken down ultimately into carbon dioxide plus water, okay, and it will release the energy. Okay, in anaerobic process what is happening, that in the absence of oxygen, ultimately what product is formed from glucose? After glucose there may be intermediate product like pyruvate. So from there on, anaerobic, we also call it as a fermentation. Okay, if it is happening in yeast or microorganisms, we say it is a fermentation. Okay, so this anaerobic respiration also take place in our body also. When we are running continuously, say in the fast running competition and all, so then the muscles will start paining. So why that pain? Because of the production of lactic acid. Okay, lactic acid. So lactic acid is one of the products of anaerobic respiration. But if the same thing is taking place in the yeast, for example, then what it will produce? It will produce ethanol. Okay, so in this way you will get the different products with anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, it will cause the complete breakdown. Okay, because glucose is made up of C6H12O6, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. It will complete breakdown into carbon dioxide gas and water vapor, and it will release the energy. Okay, so therefore these are the products that are formed in the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Decay and putrefaction, what is the difference? So in the case of decay, it is a complete breakdown. Okay, complete breakdown of whatever that organic material may be. Okay, it can be any plant material, animal material. So when it is completely breakdown, okay, we say it is a decay. But what is a putrefaction? In the case of putrefaction, it means there is the incomplete breakdown. So generally this complete breakdown takes place in the presence of oxygen, and incomplete breakdown takes place in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so here not much smell and all those things are not produced, but in incomplete breakdown, putrefaction, it's a very bad smell. Okay, because different types of methane and this kind of products are produced. Okay, sulfides and methane, this kind of these products give that bad smell. Okay, that is the putrefaction. Next, what are antibiotics? Name any two examples. It is a direct question. Antibiotics. Okay, anti means whatever these antibiotics are, these are the chemicals that are secreted by the microorganisms. Okay, these are the chemicals that are produced by microorganisms that can kill other microorganisms. Okay, other harmful, okay, harmful microorganisms. So can chemically synthesized compounds, okay, they can be called as antibiotics. Is it required that whatever these antibiotics are there, they should be source, they should be produced from the microorganisms? So the source is not important, that it is produced from some microorganism and it is killing other microorganisms. It may be either produced by the microorganism or it may be produced chemically in the laboratory. Okay, as long as it is killing the other microorganisms, it is a antibiotic, that is it is killing bios, that is the biotics, that is the microorganisms. Example, very famous examples are there: penicillin, streptomycin. Okay, next question: is tinned and sealed food always safe to eat? Give reasons in support of your answer. Tinned food is not always safe to eat, because if it is not preserved properly, then there may be the microbial growth. Okay, if there is microbial growth, then they can release the toxins. Okay, so this can cause food poisoning. Poison. Okay, it can lead to food poisoning. So that is the main reason why sometimes tinned food, if when we are opening the can and it produces a bit of pure different kind of smell is coming and it is producing some kind of gases, if the tin is a bit swollen up, then one has to avoid using that tin. Okay, would there be any bacteria in an aquarium? Yes, definitely there will be many bacteria in the aquarium. Okay, we'll see, there is another related question, so we'll see in that one. Okay, next: if you leave a piece of moist bread covered under a small bell jar at a warm place, mold grows on it in a few days. Answer the following with reference to this observation. How did the mold get inside the jar? It was there in the air. Okay, so there are spores of the fungi that are present in the air. Okay, so that's how they got there. What would happen if the bread was not covered by the bell jar? Okay, so because the bread was covered by the bell jar, it allows the to retain the moisture. Okay, it allows to retain the moisture. So what happen inside, because the bread is already moist, if it is left outside slowly, that whatever moisture is there, it can get it can lose the moisture. So if it lose the moisture, it will become very dry, then the growth of the fungus may be very less. Okay, so that is one way of preserving the food. We dry the food items. Okay, what happens if moist bread was placed in a refrigerator? So in a refrigerator, the temperature is say 0 to 5 degrees centigrade. Okay, and if you put in a say deep freezer, then it will go to up to -20. Okay, so once it is there in the regular freezer, okay, 0 to 5 degrees centigrade in our homes, whatever the fridge is there, then it will slow down, it will slow down the growth of this fungus. Okay, so what appears first on the bread, the mycelia or the spores? So here we need to remember that mycelia is nothing but a network, a filaments of this fungi. Okay, it's a network. Once there is some shortage of food or the conditions become a bit difficult for growth, then what happens, this mycelia will produce some hyphae, okay, into the air. It will go upward, it will go vertically upwards, and it will produce some spores there. Okay, so something going up, So here there is the, suppose this is the bread, okay, on the bread this fungus is growing, and suppose it become very dry or it is not getting sufficient food, then what will happen, it will produce the hyphae in the air. These are nothing but the same thill filaments, okay, which together form the mycelia. So what is mycelia? Mycelia is the network of hyphae, okay. Hyphae is very thin filaments like this of the multicellular filamentous fungus, filamentous fungi, okay. Whatever filamentous fungi are there, they will produce what, they will produce this kind of simple thread like structures, okay. And when there are many such thread like structures, after they grow like this one, they will form a mass, okay. This mass is known as mycelia, okay. And when the conditions will become a bit difficult for growth, then what it will do, it will produce some hyphae into the air, and at the end, on top of them, there will be some structures which are having the spores, okay. It will have the spores, okay. So therefore what is coming first, mycelia is coming first, okay, and spores are coming after that. How does the bread mold obtain nourishment? What type of nourishment is it? Epiphytic, autotrophic, parasitic, symbiotic, or saprophytic? Since the mycelium, the mold is obtaining its nutrition from digesting the bread, what it will do, it will secrete the enzymes outside its body, okay. And what it will do, these enzymes will digest the whatever the carbohydrates, whatever the starch and other food is there outside, it will digest it, and then the mycelia will absorb, okay. So it is a saprophytic type of nutrition, okay. Saprophytic type of nutrition. What is epiphytic? Epiphytic means whatever is growing on top of the plants. So you may see that there are some creeper like plants are growing, okay, on some big trees, okay. They are not having any roots, you can't see that they are not attached to the ground, okay. So these are epiphytic plants, they are directly getting their nutrition by becoming a parasite on the other plants. Autotrophic, okay. So what autotrophic means, autotrophic is nothing but they are able to synthesize their own food. Parasitic, parasitic means they are parasite on the others living host, they should be a living host, on that they will be the parasite. Symbiotic, symbiotic means they are helping each other, just like we saw the example of rhizobium, okay. In our earlier lectures we saw the rhizobium bacteria, where it is present, the rhizobium bacteria is present in the root nodules, okay. It is present in the root nodules. So what is happening, rhizobium will fix the nitrogen and it will provide that nitrogen for the growth of the plant, and what rhizobium will get in return, it will get some other nutrients from the plant for its own growth, okay. So that is a symbiotic. Next, write the proper sequence in the 5 steps, 5 major steps in the cultivation of the common edible mushroom. You can please refer to your textbook and you have to study from that one, okay. So it is a direct question. Comment on the following. Denitrifying bacteria are a blessing as well as a curse to the farmers, okay. What a denitrifying bacteria will do, it will convert the nitrate into, you can say, both nitrate as well as nitrite, okay, into free atmospheric nitrogen, okay. It will release it in the air. So this is blessing as well as curse to the farmers. Why? Because in one place the farmer is giving the all the kinds of nutrition for the growth of the plant in the form of nitrates and all. Okay, but these denitrifying bacteria, they are converting into nitrogen and again it is going into the air. So the nitrate is not available for the growth of the plants. So in that way it is a curse, but also it is a blessing, because this kind of conversion, if it happens, then only it allows the again nitrogen cycle to take place. If there is over accumulation of these kind of nitrates and nitrates, that is also harmful. Okay, that is also harmful. Therefore there should always be a balance in the nature. So that is why it is a blessing. Next, yeast is used in bakeries and breweries. Okay, yes, because yeast, what it is doing in the case of bakeries, by fermentation, yeast is converting the starch, okay, whichever is there in the what we can say, maida, atta, whatever this flour is there. Okay, it converts the starch in that one into simpler compounds. Okay, it will break down that one, say it will break down that into glucose. Again the glucose can be utilized by the starch, and it will produce mainly here carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide, what it will do, it will raise the dough. So whatever we see, that cake, initially there is a bread or cake, initially there is very less amount of atta, and then later it will produce the carbon dioxide, and then it will increase almost to 3 times size. Okay, almost 3 times it will increase in size. Why? Because the gas CO2 is released, that is getting trapped inside. Okay, so when we are baking further, these gas bubbles, they will expand. Okay, and then it will become fluffy. That's what we say, oh, the bread is very fluffy. Okay, so in breweries, it is because it is converting the glucose into ethanol. It is converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. So here important product is ethanol, and here the important product is the carbon dioxide, but also it is breaking down the starch. Okay, so that's also another important. Would there be any bacteria in an aquarium? Yes, definitely there will be bacteria. A balanced aquarium contains certain animals as well as some plants. How many kinds of animals can you have out in the aquarium shown here? Name any two such animals. So of course there are fishes. Okay, they are the fishes, and there is some snail here. Okay, do you think there would be some bacteria in it? Yes, there will be some bacteria. Okay, there will be some bacteria. If so, in which part of the aquarium would there be occurring in abundance, and what for? Most of the bacteria you will see will be there here down in the bottom. Okay, in the soil and all. And what is their main purpose? Whatever is secreted by these fishes and snails, they will be eating something, they will be dropping. Okay, and these bacteria, what they will be doing, they will be digesting it. Okay, they will be decomposing it, and they will recycle that nutrients back. Okay, so basically what they are doing, they are doing the decomposition process. Okay, what are they doing? They are doing the decomposition. They are doing. Which is the most common variety of cultivated mushroom? It is the button mushroom. Okay, button mushroom, agaricus bisporus. Okay, so we have all studied earlier, most of you would have already seen also this kind of button mushroom. What is meant by mushroom seed? We have discussed earlier. So basically what happens in the laboratory, the original culture of this mushroom, okay, fungi, of this fungus, what they do, they grow in a petri dish. Okay, so they grow in a petri dish. then this is a very pure culture. What you say, that this is a pure culture, there is no other bacteria or fungus that is there in this one. So from here if you cut and you will put it in some kind of tubes, okay, and here there is also some media, and on that one you put this one. So what will happen, you can prepare more and more and more of this fungus first, okay, you can prepare more and more of this fungus, and then you can use again big bottles and all. And ultimately what they will do, once they have a lot of this kind of pure culture, which is known as the seed, okay, seed is nothing but the pure culture, okay, that one they will again put into the compost heap for the growth of the fungus. What is done in the step of casing? So there is the compost layer, okay, compost layer which is having the whatever straw and other compost material, organic material is there, okay. On top of it, what we do, we add a layer of soil, okay. This adding a layer of soil on the top is known as casing. It helps to retain the moisture, and once this mycelia is growing, it has to come out right from here. So what will happen, the soil will provide it very nice place for it to make this kind of buttons, or if it is a button mushroom it will form the buttons, if it is a oyster mushroom it will form this kind of cap structures, okay, oyster mushroom, okay. So that is the importance of casing. So with this we have completed this chapter on the economic importance of bacteria and fungi. So all of you please keep revising this chapter, and if you have any doubts you can always ask in the WhatsApp group, okay. Thank you.